on very few due diligence lists, when we're looking at M&A transactions, we almost never see privacy and security. And my group, of course, has a little small heart attack when we don't see this on the due diligence lists, because we are so focused on privacy and security issues and think it's so important. And in some cases, it could be a bet the farm issue.
Is it different for different industries? Because I mean, I'm thinking in a data-centric where information is your value, that there might be more of a focus on that there is an understanding that it needs to be part of that process?
Well, I think some industries are ahead of the game. Financial institutions have been subject to Gramm-Leach-Bliley and the safeguards rule there for many years. HIPAA has ruled the day in the healthcare sector. There is not that sort of equivalent for law firms or for many, many other industries.
Is that coming? Is Washington, D.C. going to do something in the near to medium term that is going to...
Did you want to stop there? Is Washington,
no,
D.C. going to do something in the near to medium term?
I see it more,
Stay tuned.
I've seen it more just amongst independent law firms where they're collaborating or communicating with other law firms, other peers in their same industry. They're not waiting for something to come down from the government. They are responding to client requirements or demands or expectations to continue to maintain the integrity of that trust-based relationship and continue to provide a number of different services to that client. I've met many different law firms who say, oh, well, I know this other partner from this other firm, and we talked about an issue more on the data protection, privacy side of the house.
My sense is it'll be client-driven.
That's right.
So
That's right.
we're working with a significant financial institution, and we were put to the rack in terms of cybersecurity. And some of the things that they're asking for smaller firms, not global firms, terribly expensive. And so you have to, it's again, is that business worth it? Can we spend the money to get up to snuff for what this firm thinks? And even after that whole process, I went to our IT guys and said, what do you think? And they said, well, it's really good for shifting the cost if something goes wrong. But they're, based on our assurances, they have no idea how safe we are. Because basically we just checked the box. Nobody tested us. Nobody has done that. And I'm thinking about all the vendors that law firms use. What's your vendor management? These are things that I see in companies, but I just don't know if a law firm is typically set up that way, because it's a very outward focused sort of thing. I've got my set of clients, I'm working on that. There's, I think, religious adherence to ethics, and people are very clear about that, because the downside, both legally and reputationally, is fairly known.
So isn't it now an ethical obligation to be competent in technology? I mean, isn't that the big change? That's the resolution. The ABA is pushing that, is making one of the model rules. So part of that is being competent in data security.
Right.
But firms aren't. They don't follow that.
Yeah,
I mean, there are plenty. There's a lot of law firms in the
define-
United States, and let's be honest here, not all of them are great at this.
Sure, but I'm thinking about, I'm giving away the fact that one of my gigs is teaching law students. So I'm thinking about the next generation.
I think so too.
What I'm saying is it's part of the culture, and you're right. It may be years and years, and you're right, law firms don't sit there and say, oh, we're going to religiously follow this, but it's there.
I think the point that you made about other service providers is a really good one. And we see in the HIPAA context that business associates, service providers of healthcare entities, are required to impose the same obligations on their service providers. And there's a cascading effect. We absolutely have not gotten there in law firms. We may think about our own security, query whether we think about the security of all of the different vendors we're dealing with, our copy machines, our translation services, our external contract attorney services.
But you identified that in your first comment about how law firms' IT departments are set up. And they're set up to make sure that my Apple is running, right? I cannot get my email, and that's what they're focused on, right? Because they have some lawyer screaming at them, right?
That's right.
There's not someone with authority and budget looking at risk for the law firm in the same way that maybe law firms are looking at human risk, right? So I think law firms have come into the 21st century about looking at sexual harassment, looking at psychological issues and substance abuse issues, right? So there's somebody at the top that's looking at those things across. But I don't think, I have not heard, and maybe it's a well-kept secret, that you have a law firm organization structure where somebody's at the top who has authority and can say, what's our risk vendor management? What's our risk for bring your own device to work? What's our risk for when you fly to a region of the world where security is not so safe?
So the person who has that authority is the managing partner, and the managing partner is often completely uneducated about these issues.
And has a few hundred other thousand things to worry
right.
about.
That's what I was fishing for when I asked that question about DC, though. Should someone in government put out a rule or regulation that requires law firms to have a devoted person in the C-suite dealing with these issues? Now, I know it might be easier said than done to get Washington, D.C. to act on it, but my
They
question
haven't done
is,
it to
should
any
they?
other industry. I mean, there was the little discussion about, maybe we should build that in. And the EU likes, everybody's got to have their own, data protection officer in the house.
Right.
But I can't see them passing anything.
I can't either. There is a,
Wow,
a
we're
bill.
down on DC here. That question got further in the last panel.
Well, I think the question is even at a higher level than that. Do we require a cyber expert on every board for big public companies?
I had sat in a meeting with, and I can't remember which one it is. It's a group, an industry group that's basically board education industry group. And they spent a lot of time talking about moving into this space and teaching boards about this and helping companies get board members that have some level of expertise. And it was incredibly, they were just completely stymied at this point. We're trying really hard and we're not having any success. And even if you get somebody who says, we want to get somebody with cybersecurity experience, then you explain to them, here's the person, they go, oh, they're not old enough.
Well, that is, I think it's the second life for all these entrepreneurs out in
Yeah.
Silicon Valley who get tired of wearing hoodies, and they can now move to New
Sure.
York and join boards for very large things.
And wear ties.
Yes,
Yeah,
and wear
because
ties.
I think they're looking.
And
I think they're
uncomfortable
looking for
shoes.
those people, but they're not.
I think
It's a
those
tiny coterie of people.
Yeah.
It
That's
is,
the
and those
problem.
conversations from the board level or the senior managing partner level, I think, are changing, especially given recent events. They'll probably continue to change even more rapidly. But those are, challenges that I'm faced with all the time when I go and speak to someone, where someone says, "Hey, Kevin, you don't work for the government anymore. That sounds really kind of like the movies. I just can't imagine someone would go to all that effort." Well, going to that effort is so much more efficient and so much more inexpensive than actually trying to legitimately acquire that information or legitimately go through some M&A transaction and risk losing or ending up on the losing end of that transaction. It's so much easier to just go steal it, right? And so again, it gets to the point of having a conversation where you can break things down in easily digestible chunks where it doesn't sound like a foreign language anymore. You can kind of say, hey, just as you would protect your home, with locking your front door or closing your windows or buying an alarm system, these are simple steps that you can take for your firm to protect and compartmentalize segment information and enhance kind of your information security posture so you can protect yourself and your clients.
And as Lisa said, that's 90% of it is the little stuff.
The easy stuff.
You just make it harder, like you said.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, is the ability of a law firm to speak as a human to its clients as opposed to a lawyer about their own mistake. So I am a law firm, I have screwed up. And my training and everything I know about myself as a lawyer is to qualify and to be careful and to be specific but be careful not to give away too much information because I know litigation is hanging out there.